Hello everybody, Terrence Popp here with another episode of Live from the Lair. And today we're doing a new format. I guess I'm getting geeked up here and figuring out how to use all this technology and stuff. Though I will be using, from time to time, the full wall with the dry erase markers. This is just a little easier load for when it comes time to edit and so forth. Alright, so what we're going on here today is about... I've been getting a lot of rumblings about China operating to the north and south of this country. Let's see, I got a lot of individuals who work for some of the alphabet... Well, I shouldn't say work directly for the alphabet agencies. They're more like contracted. And I've been picking up a lot of reports on this. And it has been in the media, but just a little bit. And the mainstream media, for the most part, shocker, has been basically ignoring it. But we're going to go down the list here, and you can let me know what you think in the comments.
Our current stunning and brave, duly elected, most popular president ever might have delivered the coup de grace to the Republic, but the first shots were fired by useful idiot vaginuts in sheep's clothing peddling lies and propaganda before our former Kenyan-in-chief made it legal. Take a stand against the tyranny and get yourself a copy of Surviving Fourth Wave Feminism today. A link is in the description.
All right, the first source we have here is basically the amount of fentanyl that's coming through the southern border, in my opinion, is basically reached NBC proportions. We have a lot of people hooked on these opioids, and they're quite literally sapping the strength of this country. You can tell in regards to the West Coast with the amount of homeless we have, and a large majority of those people have drug problems. So what we have here is a situation with China basically becoming buddy-buddy with Mexico and some of the countries south of the United States. This is very similar to what happened prior to World War I when Germany was buddy-buddying up to Mexico to cause problems along our southern border. All right, in this particular article you see right here, there's been a significant increase in Chinese influence over Mexico. That could have strong implication for U.S. security moving forward. Again, this is basically paralleling what Germany did prior to World War I, and this is falling right in line with economic warfare, which I covered 3 or 4 layers back in regards to what China can do in regards to this. Because they, are monkeying around with their currency, and they're doing so by costing the lives of their own citizens. It's really hard for us to fight against this, especially in the conflicted times that we have right now. They say there's somewhere right around 250,000 Chinese troops at the border of Mexico and Canada. That's a lot of people. All right. Do I think there are Chinese troops operating north and south? To a certain extent, yes. But they are not staging in numbers needed to do an actual invasion. What I'm actually seeing here is what I call IPB, which is Intel Prep of the Battlefield. And what they're probably doing here is, getting the agreements in place where they could set up their airfields and their forward operating bases and set up the deep water port for supplies. Probably grease a lot of palms to make this happen. And it won't be that difficult in Mexico because that place is as corrupt as the day is long. All right, here we go. There is pictures of Chinese forces marching along the roadside in Canada. All right, now you'll see here in this particular picture, you have a lot of female soldiers along with male soldiers. This is not a combat unit. I would say this is probably intel logistics, or, like I said before, something that they're doing to, prep for future operations. Okay, in late 2019, Canada and China signed a treaty that allows People's Liberation Army of China to station Chinese troops in Canada beginning in 2020. All right, now, I've read a lot of these reports, and supposedly it's so they could train for, Arctic and winter survival and Arctic operations. Look, China is a big goddamn country. They're pretty much on the same latitude as we are. That's a bunch of bullshit. So I think there's some hanky-panky going on that we're going to need to look into moving forward. All right, now this particular article is from 2017 from HuffPo, which is a supreme left-leaning rag, but they're talking about the same thing here. They're talking about a scenario where China is stationing military forces south of the border in Mexico. Moving forward, I can see this actually becoming a severe problem, especially as the division within the United States grows. Mexico pulls away from us, and they're going to look for basically an ally, and there you go. If you look at this drone picture here, you see that at the bottom. I believe that's a fragmentation grenade at the bottom of a drone. Now, for those of you that don't know what a 60mm mortar is, it's basically a fragmentation grenade that you can launch 3,200 meters. This one is just probably going to drop it. Now, drug cartels are getting their hands on a lot of these drones and a lot of the higher level technologies. Granted, you can buy most of it on the open market now, but to have the weapon systems and the technology needed to make this an actual threat goes far beyond that. I've read some of the TTPs in Iraq where they had 4 quadcopter drones able to carry between 4 and 6 4-inch millimeter, 4-inch mortars that they would drop on U.S. troops. So, yeah, and this is not where the drone threat ends. Here's the next one here. All right. So now they are using drones to mule drugs. Okay, which, in my opinion, is probably a lot easier and less messy than drug muling with human beings, because you got to threaten people and bribe people and so forth. You could probably set up your drone, pre-program a drop location, and you're off to the races. I envision the military probably putting up counter drone units and abilities at the southern border to basically stop this from happening moving forward. But, the whole drone thing is brand fucking new for the most part. I mean, we've used it for the past decade and a half. It's got a lot more complicated. Now we got Russia, China, and virtually every army in the world looking at drones. This is going to explode moving forward. It's going to be a big threat, so watch out. All right, now here we go. As I covered this before, it's like 6 months ago, when the Mexico drug cartel basically went to war with the police and the government. They pretty much were successful. All right. Apparently, there was a couple of helicopters been shot down in Mexico, and they're getting their hands on military-grade weaponry in numbers and quantities. You can basically, which they are doing, is they're equipping an army. And that's taking place south of the border. Here we go. You're going to love this one. The Mexican drug cartel shows off uniform troops with military weapons and armored vehicles. Now, These armored vehicles are basically monkey rigged. They make them aftermarket. Though I have got reports of T-55s and a couple of anti-personnel BTR-60s that are now rolling around in Mexico in the hands of some of these larger drug cartels. This is not looking good for us, especially with the threat of China right off our southern border. So, let's get ready for interesting times. Alright, now, this particular RPG... Alright, now, this one was coming onto the battlefield in 2004 when I was in Iraq. And it was used to actually disable and destroy M1 Abrams main battle tanks through all of that fancy armor that they have that they're supposed to maintain absolute secrecy for. This is an RPG-29. This particular missile, unlike the RPG-7s, doesn't have the missile on the outside. It's actually encased. It's very similar to a recoilless rifle, which basically it is, with a fancier missile. It says the round can penetrate up to 30 inches of steel and has a reported range of 500 meters. 30 inches of steel. Alright, that's like battleship armor thick. Yeah, and then this missile will go right through that. We have camped, and this one is from 2016, so it's been 5 years. We really don't know the extent of this problem. I'm sure it's going to get a lot worse moving forward. But they are now intercepting shoulder-fired anti-aircraft missiles. Now, for most people that don't know these, they have a range roughly of 2 clicks. It's basically a revenge anti-aircraft missile, meaning that if airframes attack the surface while they're leaving, they can be engaged, and they have a very good chance of being hit by these missiles. It doesn't require a lot of damage to be inflicted on an airframe, and then that airframe is going down. What is the takeaway from this? The takeaway is this country is basically looking at a severe threat from foreign powers. Now, how that will unfold in the future, I don't know. You know, China is basically building 120 more nuke silos, and with their track record of safety in regards, I'm not really holding out a lot of hope that they're not going to either directly or indirectly kick off something that is going to encompass the entire globe. They do have a lot of nuclear power plants. There has been a lot of leaks and so forth, and they keep raising the safety standards for said power plants. Listen, I'm not holding out a lot of hope that this is going to go anywhere good, especially with the chump change in office that we have now. He is incompetent, weak, and in my opinion, and the opinion of most of the Americans in this country, there's somebody else pulling his strings. He does not represent the United States. We are fucked. Anyway, these are going to get better. It's just going to take me some time to get down to speed or up to speed on this and make it go a lot more smoothly. You guys take it easy, and I'll talk to you later.